Hello, I'm Erik Wait, and this is Erik Wait Whiskey Studies. And in this video, I'm going to talk about Ballindalloch Distillery and the art of whiskey making. To truly understand a thing, you need to make it. If you want to understand music, you can't just listen to it. You need to make music. If you want to understand wine, you need to, at least a little bit, make some wine. If you want to understand whiskey, you need to make some whiskey. So very early in my wine journey back in the 1990s, as soon as I got into wine, I volunteered to work at a winery. I was involved in a harvest. I got my fingers dirty. I then helped with the crush, that is the pressing of the grapes, and the beginning of the fermentation. Later on, I went to college to study enology and worked for 3 different wineries. So I knew when I first got into whiskey back in 2016, I wanted, when I could, get some experience in making whiskey to truly understand it. Yeah, I've been to a lot of distilleries. I've toured 49 in Scotland, but all the way all over Scotland, all the way up to Orkney, done that, Annandale and Bladnoch, been to Islay twice, Campbelltown twice. Went through the Springbank Whiskey School, been to Highlands twice, Isle of Arran, and to Speyside twice. So in my 4th trip to Scotland, after I went to the Western Isles, the western side of Scotland, went over to the Isle of Raasay, Mull, and Isle of Skye. I went over to Speyside to tour some distilleries, as well as do a tour of Speyside Cooperage. So Speyside Cooperage and Ballindalloch Distillery have been on my to-do list for quite some time. As soon as I saw that you could do a tour of a cooperage, and then Ballindalloch had a smaller experience similar to going through the Springbank Whiskey School, I knew I wanted to go through it. So in July 2023, I went through the Springbank Whiskey School, which is 5 days. The Ballindalloch Distillery has a 1-day experience in which you can get some hands-on experience working at the distillery. At the end of working for the day, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., we did a tasting, and I bought this bottle. And now, having spent some more time with it, my only regret is I wish I had bought 2 of them, because this is absolutely superb. So before getting into this, I'm going to give you a little tour around the distillery and talk a little bit more about the experience of the art of whiskey making at Ballindalloch Distillery. Ballindalloch Distillery is located in Ballindalloch, Banffshire, Scotland. The distillery was founded in 2011 and began production in September 2014. The distillery was founded by the McPherson Grant family. They have 1 stainless steel mash tun, four wood washbacks, they have 1 wash still and 1 spirit still, and they use a worm tub condenser. The Ballindalloch Speyside Single Malt Scotch Whisky Single Cask, cask number 600, aged in Oloroso sherry butt. It was distilled in December 3rd, 2015, bottled on August 28, 2023. It is non-chill filtered, has natural color. It's bottled at 62.3% alcohol by volume. This is a 50 cl bottle. Amazing, amazing, amazing whiskey. Only 8 years old. First I want to say, if there's anybody out there who owns or works for a newer distillery and you want to know how to make a young whiskey without it being seemingly young, this is the way to do it. This is absolutely superb, really, really, really beautiful on the nose. So you saw there that they had 4 fermentation takes. They do 4 different fermentations at different lengths. So a shorter fermentation, you get more of the cereal notes, more biscuity notes. Longer fermentation, you start getting more fruity esters and more floral notes. So they use a combination of fermentations in order to get the full range of characteristics you can get from a fermentation. Wow. This is really spice forward. So I do get dried black fruit notes, cinnamon, raisins, but it's really, really heavy on the spice. So more cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, some nice vanilla notes, lighter caramels, some floral notes. So some of the things you get to do there. So they don't have a malting floor, which you would be able to do at Springbank. In fact, Springbank is the only distillery in Scotland that malt 100% of their own barley. There are 8 distilleries that have malting floors, but only Springbank currently does all their own malting. But you do get to do work and interact with the fermentation tanks. You can get to roll some barrels around. You get to work at a filling station. Now, their filling station is super, super small. It's a micro distillery. Super, super small, very, very manual, one bottle at a time versus having, say, a bottling line like they got at Springbank. So it's a lot more small, micro. It's how you might do it at home if you were doing some bottling at home. Great people to work with. Really, really had a good time. Get a real nice lunch in the middle of it. And for under $400, I think it's absolutely worth the experience. The nose on this really, really pops. You can actually smell it from about here above the glass. It's really, really beautiful. Now, this is bottled at 62.3% alcohol by volume. I don't get any like sharp, tingle, burning sensation in my nose. Get a little bit of that dried orange character, some citrus on the palate. I'm serious. It has like no bite. No bite. Get the warmth in here from the alcohol, but there's a little spicy tingle, but no alcohol bite. I don't know how you do that. A number of other distilleries that I visited and brought back cask strength whiskeys, including Brassé and Torveg, Torveg particularly seemed rather harsh. This is so delicate, so light, so elegant. It has a slight creamy texture to it, an unbelievably long finish. I'm still tasting it now. It is silky. Now it is sweet all the way through. Maybe dries a little bit towards the back end. Every once in a while, I'll have a cask strength or a very high ABV whiskey. It has almost like an ethereal quality to it. It says, okay, here's your tongue, your palate, and here's the top of your mouth, and it's almost as if it's like hovering between your tongue and the top of your mouth, particularly when you hold it in your mouth. Say you hold it in your mouth, say 8 seconds, a second for every year. It's as if the flavors start to hover above your tongue. Wow. Absolutely superb. The one dangerous thing about this is it tastes so good and you can just keep going back to it and there's no burn. There's absolutely no need to put any water on this whatsoever. I have tried it with a little water. I didn't get a necessarily dramatic change on it, but the nose is confirmed. Some dried raisins, a little bit of figs, a lot of spice, cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, some vanilla, maybe lighter caramels and that kind of a character. This is a nice sherry cask, Old Worcester sherry cask whiskey, but it isn't a sherry bomb. The balance on this thing is unbelievable. If I was tasting this blind, I would think it was older than 8 years old, I'd probably go minimum 12, maybe 12 to 15 years old. I would think it was actually lower in ABV. It has an intensity of flavor that indicates a higher ABV, but because it's got no burn, there's no bite, anything like that, I might think the ABV was like 48 to 50, you know, because in terms of the effect it has on your mouth, because it doesn't have any bite whatsoever. Absolutely superb. I gotta say, this is the way to end a tour of Scotland. You know, I had a great time visiting all the distilleries in the Western Isles. Had a great time, you know, at Speyburn. Had a great time at Ben Riach. But this was the creme de la creme. This was the ultimate experience. In fact, I got to say, this is probably my favorite now. Really my favorite distillery in Speyside. If you have the opportunity to get a bottle of this, I highly, highly recommend. Obviously, it wouldn't be this exact bottle, come from the exact cask, and I'm sure these are difficult to come by, but it's an entire day event, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., so you're there all day, basically killing your whole day there at the distillery rather than be able to go to other distilleries, but it is well worth it. Only 2 people can attend the training session or the art of making whiskey, so once you get 2 people in there, it is full. And they only do it on Thursdays. So the window of opportunity to get in there is narrow. They only do it 1 day a week. So it makes it a little more challenging to get into it. But if you can fit into your schedule, I highly, highly, highly recommend the experience. And I actually got to do some things at Ballindalloch that I didn't get to do at Springbank, namely in dealing with the yeast and the fermentation tanks. That was something a little bit different that I didn't get to do over at Springbank. But I did have some prior experience rolling barrels over at Springbank, so I was a little used to that, so that was kind of cool. And the bottling was different because it was more of you push the bottle up underneath the nozzle rather than it just coming down in sort of an assembly line, bottling line. So what am I going to give a score in terms of the whiskey? I'm going to give this 94 points. 94 points, undoubtedly. Then it's going to make my top 10 for 2024. And again, as I said, I wish I had picked up another bottle. So maybe if you're in the neighborhood, maybe if you can't do a tour or something like that, but you happen to be driving by, because I've driven by the distillery a couple times before actually being able to tour it, maybe drop by and see if you can pick up a bottle, but I highly, highly recommend. Absolutely superb. All right, if you've tried Ballindalloch, let me know down below. Let me know what your impressions are. And until next time, Slàinte. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and check out these other whiskey videos.